Don't buy a Jeep Gladiator if you're an introvert. Well, good morning, everybody. How are you today? Pretty good here, and that's right. I said it. Don't buy a Jeep Gladiator if you're an introvert. Now, first of all, let me say, I'm not dogging anybody. Whether you're outgoing, a little outgoing, an introvert, there's nothing wrong with anything. You are what you are, right? No big deal. I go both ways myself sometimes. But let me tell you that this thing draws attention. A lot of people take notice when you're out cruising around in this truck. Now, it may be for many different reasons. They may love it, they may hate it. I think primarily it's just because it looks different. I mean, there's nothing else like it on the road, right? When you see the side profile of the Jeep Gladiator, you don't mistake it for anything else. You know, you're never going to think it's a Ford Ranger or maybe a Toyota Tacoma or anything like that. Especially if you buy it in one of the more vibrant colors, you know, that bright red, even the army green that they've come out with now. What about that blue color, right? I mean, it just pops. And when you throw a color like that on a vehicle that looks like this, people are going to take note. So what the heck am I really talking about, right? Well, you know what's funny? I've had a couple of friends, acquaintances, I guess, over the years, little story time. You know, they were what I would call extreme introverts, right? And it's interesting because we got into a conversation once about vehicles and things because, you know, I love vehicles, right? I mean, that's why I have these channels and stuff. And I asked them, I said, you know, why do you keep buying these bland, you know, silver or tan or whatever? You know, tan used to be a big color. And I know this is kind of a tan anyway, but tan used to be a big color back in the day, you know, maybe 10, 15, even 20 years ago. Ugly, ugly color, I think. But it was popular. People bought them. And I asked, why do you keep buying these, should I say, ugly vehicles, you know? And they told me that it's because they didn't want to stand out, right? They didn't want to draw a lot of attention. And they figured that if they had these cars, nobody would bother them. You know, they wouldn't be at the gas station filling it up and somebody want to talk about it. Or driving down the road and have somebody looking over at them, or even in the mall parking lot, which, you remember those? We used to have malls before you could order everything online. They didn't have people coming up to them and wanting to talk about it. They could just go about their business and not have to have any interaction. You're not going to get that with the Jeep Gladiator. You know, since we're in story time mode here, I'll give you a couple of mine. Shortly after I got this truck, I was at a gas station, you know, because I drove it a lot. I was burning a lot of gas. I still do. But I was at the gas station, I was filling it up, and somebody came up and they wanted to talk about it, you know. Is that the new Jeep Gladiator? Of course, it said Gladiator right on the side. They just wanted to talk about it, which is cool because for me, I don't care. I kind of like that. But anyway, they wanted to discuss it, how I liked it, where I got it. And then, of course, they gave me their opinion on it, and they said they liked it. Whether they really did or not, you know, who really knows? The second time, and this happened just recently, and granted, this may be not the same for everybody because obviously not everybody out there has a YouTube channel, but I was making a trip to Lowe's. I was on my way home, and I had pulled up to a stop sign, and there was a bright red. Again, you can't miss them. Jeep Gladiator right beside me, right? So I've got my window up. They can't see in there anyway. I mean, look at that. You can't see in that when the windows are up. They're tinted. So I just continued my way. I got ahead of them because, you know, I had to do that. And then I pulled over and I'm in front of them. We pull up to I think it was a stoplight next, right? And I'm watching because I like the Gladiator, so I'm checking it out. But I'm watching in my rear view mirror, and I do have one other thing to mention here. I do have two decals on the back of my Gladiator. Let me show you. If you haven't seen them, they're channel decals, right? They say RM and then Rob Motive JT underneath for advertising for the channel, of course. So I'm assuming they probably saw those as well. But we pulled up to the stoplight, and I'm watching, I see the guy stick his head out of the window and he says something, you know, and of course I figure it's got to be related to the channel or maybe the Jeep Gladiator itself because he's driving one, you know, like, hey, nice Jeep Gladiator, or, you know, something like that. Uh-oh, we have an interloper. Hi, honey.
Hi, honey.
It's not St. Patrick's Day anymore, you know. But anyway.
I'm a day late.
That's right. I'm telling my story here.
Tell your story.
So he sticks his head out the window and I hear something. I can't quite make out what he says. So I stick my head out the window and I say, what's that? And he says, Rob Motive, you're the man. And of course I eat that up. You know, I mean, it's obvious. I'm on here. I'm looking for attention, right? I mean, that's why I do this. But it was just way cool, man. And I say, you know, not everybody's going to experience that, of course, because not everybody has a YouTube channel. But when you're driving around a truck like this, as distinct as it is, I would bet that if somebody pulls up behind you at a stoplight or a stop sign or something like that, they might just stick their head out and make some sort of a comment about your Jeep Gladiator because they're driving one themselves. It's kind of like a unique little club, I guess. The one thing I have found since I've owned the Jeep Gladiator, it's a very polarizing vehicle, you know? People either love it, Krista loves it. She would. But people either love it or they hate it. There's really no middle ground, you know? So it kind of...
There is a middle ground.
What's that?
My middle ground.
Yeah, I see.
I don't love it, but I don't hate it.
Oh, so you are in the middle.
But I don't want one, so...
Well, then you don't even count.
My Wrangler's better.
Yeah, it's okay. So I think it kind of shrinks the whole, the number of owners down a little bit and makes it more of kind of like an exclusive club, right?
It's a group.
It is a bit of a group. And I see that on the channel. And the
Jeep Wave still applies too, you know?
Well, that's because people coming from the front can't tell that you're driving a Jeep Gladiator. And since you bring that up, I would be curious to know how they really feel once they realize that it's a Jeep Gladiator. Do they think to themselves, oh man, why did I wave at that? It's not a real Jeep. I'm curious if there's any of those old purists out there that think that way, you know, once they've caught up and been able to see that it is indeed the Jeep Gladiator or Jeep truck, as opposed to the old standard two-door Jeep Wrangler punkin'. You guys see that in there? Punkin', like what Krista here drives.
Awesome, authentic Jeep Wrangler.
She's one of those. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here, kind of talk about that a little bit. You know, if you're the type of person that doesn't like to get a lot of attention, doesn't want to have a lot of social interaction, and again, there's nothing wrong with that. We are what we are. You be you. But if you're one of those type of people, yeah, the Jeep Gladiator might not be for you because it is going to draw a lot of attention, and you're probably going to have some conversations with strangers about that truck. Leave a comment. Let me know. Do you get any comments about your Jeep Gladiator? Do strangers approach you and want to talk about it? I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, if you're interested, I have
two
other channels. The first is Rob Motive, all about my 2020 Toyota Tacoma, right on the other side of Krista's head there. And the second is Rob Motive Civic, all about my experiences with another of Krista's favorites, the Honda Civic Type R and the Honda Civic Sport Hatch. Check them out. If you're interested, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And do me a favor, smash that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there.